I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
All right, welcome back everyone to episode 38 of the Best Thing We've Seen podcast. My name is Flo.
And I'm Gabe. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Good enough.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Good enough to sit in front of a PC and talk to the screen?
Sadly, I don't have anything better to do, so here we are again.
Again with the, what do you mean? That's a
They're just
horrible statement.
I'm
So many ways.
Great time always. Every time we do this.
Yeah. No, it's too late now.
I know.
So
I have to resign in shame.
Yeah. This is going to be an interesting episode because, as you mentioned last week, right now, there's a film festival going on in our city, which we've attended multiple times already. But I was wondering how we were going to do this because I don't know if we should choose these things as our picks, but then again, we decided to just do it that way. I mean, we're going to talk about some movies that won't be released. Some of them are released. Like one of the movies that we're going to talk about is actually releasing in like regular theaters this week as well. But others are going to be like released in 2021. So we don't know the releases, but we're just going to talk about them as if they were out like next week, I guess. Yeah, how have you been? What have you made of the film festival so far?
I think it's pretty great, and I actually really like the conduct during the film festival because coronavirus is still going on, as everybody knows, and I think they handle it pretty well, considering you're sitting in a room for about 2 hours with a couple of strangers. But I think they handled it well, so you feel quite comfortable watching the films, and the films themselves have been quite good so far. So, yeah, I think it's a great time. I mean, I think you mentioned this before, but sadly, a lot of films could not be shown probably during the Vienna Film Festival because of things that are going on right now. But there's still a couple of really cool things to see.
What do you mean some of them can't be shown?
I think maybe the schedule would have been different if this year had gone differently.
I don't
Other
think so.
films might have been out during the film festival.
I can't think of one movie that is missing out on this year's festival that...
Yeah?
No.
Maybe. Well, maybe you're right. And also, during one of the films that we watched together recently, there was a little video prepared by the filmmaker and one of the stars saying they could not attend, sadly. It would have been cool to see them.
That would have been cool, yeah. But I like the way they've handled this. That happened at a couple of screenings now where people are like sending in messages beforehand. I mean, obviously it would have been nicer if they were there in person or just like... I've seen as well that some people like Skyped in so they could interact with the audience. But yeah, I mean, it's strange times. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely. But
so I don't know how we're gonna do this. So the premise of the show, if you haven't listened to this, basically we're talking about the best thing we've seen all week. We're picking the one best thing that is like newly released. Could be a movie, could be a TV show, could be a YouTube video. But it's going to be movies this week, I think, because we've seen quite a few movies together as well. But as I don't know what your pick is going to be, I'm struggling to like plan this episode out. How are we going to do this?
well, I guess we can tiptoe around it. Start with the thing that I think, both don't have as a pick, and then we can kind of start going up the list. And if somebody says the pick, we can either postpone it or somebody says, "All right, that's my pick. That's why it is my pick."
Yeah, I mean, we also have one other thing to discuss, which isn't film festival related.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's going to be your pick.
no.
What was that pause?
I was trying to decide if I should tell you right away, but I guess
Well, if
make
it's
it
not
easier
your
in the
pick,
both of us.
why hesitate? Let's talk about Borat 2 then. I mean, if it's not your pick, then we can talk about it. It's not my pick.
It's your time to start this week, so what did you think of it?
But it's not my pick.
Well, it isn't mine either.
Yeah, but I'm asking you how you thought, what you thought of it.
All right. I liked it. I rewatched the first one yesterday, and I saw the new one today, a couple of hours ago. And I liked it. It's not
Cutting it
as good
close.
as the first one.
You don't think it's as good as the first one?
No,
Okay.
or at least I didn't enjoy it as much. I think it's very interesting what happened, and I don't want to spoil it because it's very new as well, and it's so weird. And I think a lot of the humor and fun of the film is the shock value because you're not sure what's going to happen, and then it happens because it's a lot of candid things happen, real life things, people just doing shit in front of the camera because they don't know that this is supposed to be a film.
Sure.
And with him and the other two pro-conservatives that he lives with or sees,
Right.
it's such a weird and cool kind of thing to have happen. And
Is all of that real?
apparently he lived with them for 5 days and stayed in character the whole time.
But surely they know Borat.
Apparently not.
I mean, how do they find these people? I want to live with
and
you and
I
have a camera crew with me the whole time while I do this, while I do weird shit all the time.
I think they
During
tell
a fucking
people
quarantine,
that it's,
I want to live with you.
I think they tell people that it's a documentary.
Right.
That's how that they get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange.
Yeah.
But I'm sad that I couldn't see this in theaters. This is
Yeah.
one of those movies that is so much better in theaters because
I'm sure it would have been, yeah.
Just for the shock value alone, as you said, and just the humor as well would have been so much better in theaters because this didn't really make me laugh when I watched it at home.
Not?
Well, not like out loud. I had to chuckle like quite a few times.
Right.
But I'm not a big fan of the first one. So I think the first one and the second one are sort of like, I would say they're equal in terms of quality. I don't love them or hate them. I thought they were both fine.
Yeah, but what don't you like about them? Don't you like the humor or that it's kind of this real element? I mean, it's a bit of a prank film if you think about it.
Sure.
In a
No, I
way.
think it's very audacious what he does, Sacha Baron Cohen. I mean, no one else probably could do this or would like be able to have like no sense of shame or whatever. He's just doing anything in order to get a laugh, I guess. And some of the scenes were funny, but it's like his humor is always like based on misconceptions. So, or like misinterpretations of things. Like, for example, that baby scene.
Yeah.
Where she swallows the baby thing, which is pretty funny. But it's like, it reminded me so much of like in the Brothers Grimsby, whatever that movie was called. There was like a very, very
Heath
similar
Ledger?
scene. What?
Oh, sorry, yeah. Grimsby Brother.
But it wasn't even a joke. I thought it was a great. Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen and the Brothers Grimm with Heath Ledger.
All right, yeah, the one with Mark Strong, right.
Right.
Excuse me.
I think it's called the Brothers Grimsby now.
I'm
it's
sure
just
it is. Yeah, something like
You're talking about the Brothers Grimm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Grimsby thing. Where there's like a scene where he's taking a shit in the toilet or whatever, and he can't flush it. But then there's like he calls a maid, and there's like a huge like misinterpretation there as well, which every sentence is like has a double meaning, and it's just like that was hysterical as well, especially when I saw it in the movie theater. But I don't know, it's just I think it's kind of cheap. It's still funny, but it's just that's why I'm not a huge fan of all of Sacha Baron Cohen's films, where he's playing like these comedic characters where it's just basically the same thing all the time. It's just like embarrassing himself in order to make us laugh, and then it's fine. It's fine. It's just it doesn't blow me away.
But I mean, for example, with this scene, it's not just about the humor, it's also about what they make people say, because him telling the guy that he's her father and that she has his baby in him, and he's like, well, that doesn't matter. I mean, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, I'm struggling to believe that all of that is real, but I guess it is, yeah. I guess it is.
There are weird people out there.
Yeah, of course, for sure, yeah. And I liked the whole, like, as I said, I enjoyed the movie. I gotta be honest. I had it's fun, entertaining stuff for like 100 minutes or however long it is. And there's some good scenes in it, yeah, for sure. I like the ending too. I like that little reveal at the end, sort of. Yeah, I honestly wasn't expecting it, and I thought it was kind of funny. And there's obviously some great celebrity cameos in there. One did make me laugh out loud when he met
at the very end.
Yeah, when he met that person.
Yeah.
that was
Sadly,
great.
I kind of spoiled that for me because when you go on IMDb, that person's the second or third person build.
Yes.
And I was just waiting for him to turn up.
Well, I had the exact same thing, but on Amazon Prime, if you press the screen, you see like the actors.
Yeah. The X-ray.
Right. And I saw the person as well, but then I was thankfully stupid enough not to like connect the dots as to why he's in the movie. So the reason why he's in the movie still made me laugh. You know what I mean? I was waiting for him, but then the way they used him, I thought was really, really funny.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And sadly it didn't work for me because the X-ray function didn't work for me for some reason. There's this very sweet scene with an old lady in a synagogue.
Yes.
And apparently if you go on, press the X-ray button, you can go up during that scene and then it brings you to the full like scene with her where she tells her story or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I saw that, yeah.
It's pretty cool. I think that's just a very sweet scene. She seems to be an amazing person, or was.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean was? Did she die?
She died.
Do we?
At the very end of the credits, it's in memory of.
Oh, that was her.
Apparently, shortly after filming, she died.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
What did you think of the daughter?
I wasn't a fan of her at the beginning. I thought her acting was a bit too strong for her whole character. It seemed more like acting than with Sacha Baron Cohen. I have such a problem pronouncing his name for some reason.
No, I was laughing because I know what you're going to say. It seems like real.
Not real, but so over the top. It seems more like a clown, you know?
Oh, okay.
More like that.
Yeah.
But towards as the movie goes on, I think she's fucking great, and
yeah,
they go well together, pretty well.
Like there's like because you also mentioned that you don't want to spoil anything. Like in terms of publicity, this movie is going like all out, and especially that one scene towards the end as well with her in a hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
People are talking about this scene without even seeing the movie because they promote the scene. And like certain still images are being released.
I'm wondering if they showed the whole scene because I read somewhere that there's a scene in this film that could end a politician's career because they did something pretty awful or shitty or weird or not okay, and they kind of hinted that at the end. But I wonder if
say that again. Sorry, what did you say? They cut apart? Did they?
I'm not sure. I heard there was a scene in it in the not released version that had a very incriminating or.
Well, surely that's that scene, no?
Yeah, but they kind of just hint at it and they don't show us something very terrible. I mean, could be interpreted that way, and maybe it did happen that way.
Yeah, I don't want to get into this, but I agree with you. I don't think what he did in that, like, the action that is sort of the controversial thing, I think... I don't think there's anything wrong in what he did there. You could argue that the fact that he is in that situation alone is horrible, and that is the case. But you know what I mean, right? Yeah,
that's what made me wonder if there was maybe even more, and they cut it. Maybe something he said or did, or who knows.
Could be. I mean, he is a shady guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I thought it was fine. Yeah, I was never going to love this movie.
I have to admit, I had to laugh out quite hard a couple of times. I also did with Borat yesterday, and I've seen this film at least 2 or 3 times.
What were some of your favorite scenes in the new one that made you laugh?
The one at the ballroom scene. For example.
But that is almost like unbearable to watch.
I was at work yesterday, and a colleague of mine, we talked about the new Borat film, and I asked him if he had seen it. Well, like he didn't finish it, I think, and he said, when you get to the ballroom scene, think of me, because he thought it was so unbearable.
Oh, okay.
And yeah.
Think of me during that scene. It's a weird, weird thing to say.
Because the most extreme thing that he could have done, I think, in that situation.
Yeah.
And just the reaction of people.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, that was hard to watch.
Yeah, dude, but it's quite brave what both of them do.
Oh, for sure.
Especially when he goes up on that stage and sings at that one towards the end of the film.
I saw some behind the scenes footage of that.
Yeah, people, apparently they found out who he was and they did not react well.
Well, there's a scene of them the whole film crew fleeing the scene.
Yeah,
because they were so aggressive.
One or two, or I think at least one people, they said, reached for their handguns and stormed the stage.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, crazy.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
It's a weird hybrid, this movie. Like, also, like, this one more than the first one of, like, I don't quite know what is real and what is not. Because apparently, we talked about this like a couple of minutes ago, but apparently everything is real, but I just can't, like, fathom that. I can't believe that every scene in that, like, is real, where, like, also in that scene with the concert, there's, like, the two guys that he lives with there, and they're, like, then talking to his daughter and giving her the book and, like, in perfectly framed shots or whatever. That just doesn't seem like it's a real situation. But
I mean,
I
don't know if they tell them it's a documentary. Maybe they. I mean, especially there was another camera there, and they maybe thought it was from a news crew, but maybe it was just an undercover camera guy from the BORAT project. But
yeah,
I mean, just scenes like that make me wonder. Also, for a moment, I also wondered if it was real, and then I read it. Apparently, it wasn't. It's so weird because at times they seem so nice, and then they seem the most abhorrent shit a person could.
Oh, for sure. Yep. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about some of the films that we saw at the film festival.
You want to talk about First Cow, because I think that's not going to be your pick.
No. Let's do it. Yeah. First Cow, Kelly Reichardt's film, and apparently everyone loves this film. I had a little bit. I didn't love this film. I thought it was okay. Like, I've heard it before that, and I think I told you this as well. That's the final frame of the movie is supposed to be one of the year's best or whatever. And I was sort of expecting, like, I knew that going into it, and then I was sort of expecting it, and I kind of figured out what that last shot was going to be before it actually came up. So that was a bit of a, like, anticlimax or whatever. But it's a story about two friends in the 19th century, I think, in Oregon, talking, one cook and one a Chinese guy who's fleeing from some Russians, and then they're sort of bonding. And I think the movie gets interesting when they try to steal milk from the cow,
which is like 30 or 40 minutes in.
Yeah, but that's very, very funny, and also like kind of tense, those scenes where they milk the cow, and then with that milk they're able to, like, cook some biscuits or whatever that they're able to sell at the market for quite a reasonable, or quite a bit of money. But then also they meet some people that well, I don't want to give it away, but drama ensues, I guess. I
mean, I thought the film was kind of nice, but the thing is, it is extremely long, not just from the runtime, but from the shots and how the story progresses. And one of the funniest things about the film was the thing you said to me during the very first shot of the film. Flo leaned over and whispered to me, "This is going to be a long film." There's just this shot of a boat entering frame and exiting frame. It's, I'm sure, over a minute long.
Yeah.
And that pattern kind of repeats itself throughout the film. It does,
yeah. It's a slow film.
Quite slow, yeah. But it's nice. I thought the story was very nice, of friendship, especially with the opening quote.
Yeah.
Of, I think, a bird's nest, spider's web, man friendship.
Yep.
Like,
well done, yeah.
The thing
something
people
like
need.
That. Yep.
And I thought it was very nice, and I thought it was
very
nicely shown. Don't start.
You definitely saw that movie today.
And yeah, I thought it was very sweet.
Well, I was able to put together a little segment for the radio station that I work at. They asked me if I could talk about some of the movies that I saw at this year's Viennale. And I used all of the trailers in that segment. And that just made me realize how great the music in First Cow it was or is. Because I used it in the thing. Great music. I honestly want to say that. Right? It really sticks out. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. There's a beautiful guitar, but also not just that, but I agree with you. I used, funnily enough, I used that guitar clip as well.
Yeah, I think the opening beautiful. Scene has a lot of that guitar. It reminded me so much of the Deadman soundtrack, a film that I've talked about at least once.
The Jarmusch
during the podcast. Yeah, because the soundtrack was made by Neil Young and Crazy Horse.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, just also for the other movies that that we're gonna talk about. I'm also like, I'll be able to rave about the music because I used it in the segment. It was really, really good. But yeah, I mean, First Cow. Unfortunately, I'm not like as big a fan as everyone else seems to be. I thought it was slow, as you said, and some of the scenes were interesting and funny and cool, but most of the movie was a bit of a drag. And Toby Jones was in it, which was fun. I like him. But I thought this was an average to good movie at best.
I thought the start was quite nice, but yeah, it was just not hard to watch, but it just took such a long time that the entertainment value just went down over time.
I agree. It was a bit too long.
Yeah, and it takes quite a bit to get starting, and then towards the end it also has a couple of too long moments.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I agree.
But it's still a cool film that I think not many people would have known about, I guess. And I think it's a film that would have completely went under my radar if I hadn't seen it this week.
I agree that it would have went under your radar, but I believe me, a lot of people are like, it always sounds
sure,
but I hate when I say, but the film community like loves this movie.
But not like casual moviegoers.
Sure. I mean, they're not going to watch it now after our rave review.
That's why I want to add it. It is still not a bad film, and if you kind of like those kind of films, check it out.
Yeah. Well, I doubt this one's going to be your pick either. Never, rarely, sometimes, always. Oh, I forgot a word there. Never, rarely, sometimes, always.
Let's say it would have been probably if it hadn't been for another film.
That's a great statement. Thank you.
I think it still is, because I think it's a pretty good movie.
It is a good movie, yeah. Please give us a synopsis of that movie.
If you don't know what all right, let me start over. What Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always is. It's a film set in today's times with a young girl, a underage girl, who got pregnant and wants to terminate her pregnancy. And the trouble that she has to go through to do that, because where she lives, her doctor, and in her state, it's illegal for a minor to get an abortion unless that person gets their parents' permission, which she can't get.
Right, she doesn't want to know.
Yeah, and so she has to go to New York to do that, and is accompanied by her cousin. And the film is a lot about, I think, sexual harassment, and very uncomfortable. There are a lot of very uncomfortable moments in this film. Just, I think, to kind of show people like the everyday things, and that a lot of people have to go through, and makes it even more weird that the two protagonists are underaged.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's a tough film to watch, but I thought it was really great. And the Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always scene,
yes,
which you will know what it is when you see it, is just the best scene of the whole film, and it's just so good. I think her acting was just
You don't want to
phenomenal.
give that away?
I don't think I do.
I used it as a stinger, like as a teaser in my segment for the radio station. Yeah. I thought it came out really well because that sort of tells people what it's about. So I'm going to be,
I guess.
I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to say it.
Yeah, right. You go ahead.
Well, there's a scene where she is talking to her doctor, and she's asking her questions about her like sexual history. Is that a term?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she always has to answer with either, never, rarely, sometimes, or always. And I completely agree with you. I thought she was great. Mm. I think the actress's name is Sydney Flanagan.
Yeah.
I thought she was really, really great.
Yeah, I thought her co-star, whose name I sadly don't know right now, was also very good.
Yes. And we talked about this too. I think there's another film, a Romanian film that is called, I think it's 5 months, 4 weeks, and 3 days. Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest, but yeah.
I think so. 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days, sorry. That is very, very similar to this movie. And I think that Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always is heavily influenced by that movie. But it's not really a remake, but you could see it as one, I guess.
And I have to shamefully admit that I had no idea what this film was about, and I expected more of a drama,
like
maybe comedy. A bit of a comedy, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was funny when you told me this.
Just the title, it sounds like it, but if you know what...
Well, you didn't know what the last movie that we're going to talk about is, right? What? I'm sorry, you didn't know what that movie was going to be about.
I I knew that it was about drinking.
Right. Well, before we get to that,
and I wasn't that wrong.
Yeah, but before we get to that, I mean, we had an argument about never, rarely, sometimes, always. I don't want to get into this now because there's like an element of that film that I really disliked heavily. You took it to heart, apparently, and you completely disagree.
It to heart. I just
you did in your usual manner.
I take offense by that statement.
Well, there you go. Yeah, as you did when I told you my issue with the film.
I didn't take offense when you said that to me. I just disagreed, and I just want to argue against it because that's just how I saw it, and I tried to tell you. I didn't mean it's in a bad way.
No, and you're absolutely right to argue. It's absolutely. I mean, we just have a different viewpoint on it, but I don't think we should get into that now. Watch the movie.
That's better not.
I think it's a better movie than First Cow. I think it's really interesting and it tells sort of the horrors and the problems that a lot of women have to go through, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's like casual harassment that happens a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Like that people don't even notice, probably.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk about, before we get to the pick.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's go.
This is not, I don't know why you made it out to be like you have like an outrageous pick. I was sure you're going to have the pick that you have. So
did I make it out to be outrageous?
Well, not like, but yeah, you had to like, you thought about it for a little bit and you paused as I asked you the question. I thought it was quite obvious, but I'm going to talk about a movie that I saw yesterday, which I don't think you've seen. It's called Mainstream.
You talked about that you were going to see it, but I still don't know what it's about.
Well, it's directed by Gia Coppola, another Coppola production. And the reason why I watched this is because it stars Andrew Garfield, who I believe to be one of the great actors working today. I truly believe that. The fact that he didn't win for The Social Network is outrageous. That's I'm not just saying. Good question. I don't think he was nominated for an Academy Award. Let's look it up. Love looking things up.
He was nominated for Hacksaw Ridge and maybe
right.
Silence.
I don't think he was nominated. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's nominated for Silence. He was nominated for one Oscar, and that was for Hacksaw Ridge.
All right.
He was nominated for The Social Network at the Globes.
All right.
He didn't win that. But Mainstream, have you watched the film Ingrid Goes West?
I do not think so. I'm not sure what the film is, to be honest.
That's Elizabeth Olsen and what's the actress? Aubrey Plaza. That movie where she's like a famous influencer and Aubrey Plaza stalks her and wants to become friends with her because she wants to get famous as well.
I 100% haven't seen this one.
All right. Mainstream reminded me a lot of that movie. And I did not like Ingrid Goes West. I did like Mainstream a lot. I thought this was a really, really good movie. It's basically, it stars Maya Hawke, Ethan Hawke's daughter, Nat Wolff, who is an actor that I also very much like, and Andrew Garfield. And they sort of start up a YouTube channel, basically, in which Andrew Garfield says pretentious shit all the time in order to get famous. They want to sort of prove a point, a satirical point. They want to make fun of the YouTube scene these days. But during this process, Andrew Garfield sort of actually becomes one of these people they're actually making fun of.
Right.
And it is very bubbly. It is very like loud. It's a very loud. It also stars Jason Schwartzman.
Oh, cool.
That might be a selling point to you as a Wes Anderson fan. Or Schwartzman fan.
I also kind of like Andrew Garfield, but
yeah,
I've never thought like, dude, that's an Andrew Garfield film. Let's go see it. To be honest.
Oh, dude, he's great. Have you seen Under the Silver Lake yet?
I haven't. Still.
Right. That was also like I saw that at the Viennale as well. That was a great.
Last year, right? Or the year before that?
2 or 3 years ago.
Oh wow!
I think
time goes.
Maybe 2 years. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Mainstream. Just a quick. I thought this was the better Ingrid Goes West. Really, really good. Fantastic acting all over the board. I thought Maya Hawke was really good as well. And the last scene, the last shot. That is a great last shot. Not First Cow. It's also a good shot. But the last shot in Mainstream was tremendous. Really good. That's all I'm going to say. It's a good movie. But we're already like 30 minutes in or whatever. So let's talk about... it's my pick. I get to go first. Well, the best thing I've seen this week is a movie that I was so surprised to see featured at this year's film festival.
How come?
well, they've never showed a Danish film before. They've never when I think of the Viennale, I don't think of like Scandinavian movies. I just don't. But I had heard about this movie quite a while ago, was super excited for it. And then also like another film that we hopefully get to see this weekend if the whole world doesn't shut down again, Nomadland. I was expecting that movie to be featured at the Viennale. I was just waiting for it. And I was right. That is a typical festival film. My pick of the week, Druk, or in English, Another Round. I was not expecting that to be featured, and I was so glad that it was. So I'm assuming that's your pick.
It is. I haven't seen anything else this week.
Right. Well, Another Round is... Well, first of all, we got to say this is the one where you mentioned like the director and the actor sort of sending in like a little video message in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I was so sad because I did not know that they were supposed to be there. Mads Mikkelsen and
so
Thomas
awesome.
Vinterberg. That would have been incredible. I've seen a lot of great people at this film festival, but that would have been my favorite by far because I am a huge fan of Mads Mikkelsen. Mads Mikkelsen's? There's always an S at the end, right? When you say that? Mads Mikkelsen's?
Yeah.
To be a huge fan of Mads Mikkelsen's, I think so.
You're a huge fan of his?
I'm a huge fan of both of these guys, yeah.
Yeah.
And Druk, well, they basically said that in Denmark, this word can't be translated, which I thought was interesting because it's so close to drunk, right?
Well,
but he said
when they said that, my bro turned to me and said, "Saufen."
Right, but I think it's like, isn't it like an excessive alcohol consumption?
Well, isn't
sure
Saufen as well?
I agree. I don't know, but he said like in Denmark they have like 30 words or whatever for drinking. But, so basically, Another Round of Druk is about 4 friends who decide to test the theory that your life is better when you have a constant amount of alcohol in the blood, a constant level of blood alcohol, right? I think it's like 0.5 per mil.
Is this per mil in English?
Probably not.
Keep talking. I'm gonna Google how they measure alcohol content in the US.
Right, but it's easily explained by just saying it's best to have like a little bit of alcohol in your system the whole time. And I was going into this movie knowing the premise, and I was like, how the hell are they going to do this and not follow the traditional arc of a film like this? If you've seen more than 2 films, whatever, you know how movies, what their structure is. And I'm not spoiling anything now. If I'm telling you that is the premise of the film, what are you expecting? You're expecting them to test a theory. It's going to go great. Then they're going to overdo it. It's going to go terrible. And then there's going to be a message at the end. You don't have to drink, whatever, right? That is what I expect. So I've watched the movie now, and I still can tell you what this movie is trying to tell me. I can't tell you what the movie's trying to tell me. I can't tell you what the movie is trying to say because it does not go down that route. But
I think what it tries to tell people is things are not just black and white. Now you just love that because it shows that you can drink and it's okay to drink. Just don't overdo it, and it's not right. You don't have to quit completely, but you shouldn't become dependent on it either. Sure. I think that's nice.
It is very pro-alcohol, that movie, then.
Well, pro-alcohol, I mean, it's a social kind of thing, and I think it's all right to drink at times.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And sure, go ahead. It's fun, but it can have a lot of bad side effects if you don't know how to control the alcohol.
Sure. But I'm skipping the discussion here. Basically, what I want to say before as well, this movie reunites Thomas Vinterberg, he's the director, with Mads Mikkelsen and also with Thomas Bo Larsen. All of these actors, the 2 actors and the director have made The Hunt, which is one of my favorite movies. And this is the latest collaboration between these 3 guys. So I was incredibly excited for this. And once again, when that movie started or whatever, like a couple of minutes in, where they're sitting at the dinner table and Mads Mikkelsen, he's playing a character who's like very down. He doesn't really like the way his life is going these days. He doesn't really connect well with his wife or with his kids, and he even asks her if he changed for the worse in the last like couple of years. To which she replied, yeah, he's just not the same anymore. And then there's like this dinner scene where he doesn't want to drink, but his friends are telling him to drink. And then he's taking the first sip, and then he starts to cry. And then everyone asks him what's going on, and he's like realizing that he's just not happy anymore. It just solidifies great acting to me. We've had like 37 episodes now. This is 38. We talked about great acting all the time. And for example, in the DiCaprio special, I agree that it is great acting in Wolf of Wall Street or in Once Upon a Time. But the phrase, it's great acting, I just throw it out sometimes. Mads Mikkelsen is the guy, I think he's one of the best actors out there without any, like, no question. And that movie just solidified that to me. I think he's incredible. I never think of him as an actor in that movie. I think of him playing, I think, Martin, and I believe everything he does.
Dude, I absolutely agree. When I watched the film, I completely forgot it was Mads Mikkelsen. I just bought it 100%. Just the way he reacts and how down he seems at the beginning, and how little confidence he has at the beginning. You just see a person, you just know a person like that, and you just see that person.
Yeah. So what did you think of, like, what did you expect? Because or what did you know before you saw the movie?
I knew it was about drinking. I know it was Thomas Winterberg, and I knew it was Mads Mikkelsen. That's right. All I knew. I didn't even know that the other actor from The Hunt was in it. I didn't even recognize him without the beard, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then the film kind of started with them talking about the theory that people are born with with too low of an alcohol level, and that they need to correct that.
Yeah.
And I think I began smiling when I heard that. And I was like, all right, this is going to be fun.
I was going to say, I was literally thinking that. But I was wondering what people who didn't know what the movie was about were thinking. And yeah, I mean, it's just a movie that I knew from the premise alone would be of interest to you.
I just knew it was about drinking. And then when I saw it was a couple of teachers, and then they went to that party and they started drinking, I thought maybe the film was just taking place during that one night and was just one night of alcohol excess.
Right.
But it wasn't, and I was very pleasantly surprised, to be honest. It was a great film.
Yeah.
And
did you love it?
Love it? I don't know. I mean, I had a great time, and I would definitely watch this film again. It's just, to be honest, it is a drama, and it's categorized as a drama online, as far as I've seen. But it is extremely funny, to be honest.
Well, it is that what we always talk about. It is a drama with comedic moments.
Yeah.
And I agree. But there were I think they could have had a few more funny scenes, because I don't think there were too many. There were like 2 laugh out loud scenes in the whole film, right? It's like the one with the fish, with the fresh.
Yeah.
I don't know what the English word of that thing is, but what was the other thing? Like maybe.
I mean, when they were at the bar later on, there were a couple of funny scenes then, and.
What? Where? Oh.
I think the same night where they were just doing stupid shit there, and when.
Oh right, yeah, right. The scene straight after it, right? Yeah.
And when the PE teachers, Tommy.
Yeah.
His alcohol is found in the locker.
Yeah.
And he just tries to deny it. It's so good.
Well, that wasn't really that funny, though. I mean, I
don't
want
to. It was quite funny. Him trying to. I was like, all right, it must be students. You're right. So, oh my God, there's another one. So what? I had no idea.
Right. You're right. Where he finds out even more, like after, yeah. In all of these hiding spots. But we failed to mention that, like, the friends, they test the theory, but there's also they write it down. There's different phases.
They try to make it professional.
Right. They
have a couple of rules, like no drinking after 8 p.m.
Yep.
So they can get up in the morning and
on the weekends.
Yeah, no drinking on the weekends. But still, it must be so fucking hard if you drink throughout the whole day when you get up at I don't know, 8, 7. When do they get up? I mean, they're teachers. They have to be at school 8. And they arrive quite drunk at most days.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ. By the time they go to bed, I was just... my head would be spinning. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking of a couple of funny scenes. You're right. Where there's where he goes like he wants to go beyond the mark that they set for each other. And then he asks him, what are you on? I'm thinking, yeah, like one. I think one. I don't know though. Did you look it up? What is the terminology there?
Promille just means per 1,000, which makes sense. But there's not really an English word for it. Just alcohol level. Right.
But then he asks him what his alcohol level is, and he says like, yeah, it's now like 1 per 1,000 or whatever.
1%.
Yeah, 1%. And he's like, oh, great. He has to try that too because it seems to be working well or whatever. But yeah, that whole like whenever they type out something for their study, it's like shown on screen, and I love the way in which the director used that later on in the movie. Thought that was great. But yeah, overall, it's one of those movies I didn't necessarily love 100%. Like I don't think like in terms of ratings, this is more like an 8 for me. But for whatever reason, I completely like. I put this movie up so high in my estimation, regardless of that.
That's funny. It's the same for me. I also give it an 8, but I still love it. It's just, maybe not perfect, but in my head, I love thinking about the film, and I'm definitely gonna see it again.
Did you like the ending? Without spoiling it,
I was a little confused, to be honest.
I was too.
I mean, at that point, I was also. What is the message exactly?
Right.
Because I thought something different is going to happen. Don't kind of start thinking about it, and it's maybe but yeah, it's. I guess it's kind of a funny ending, I guess, because it's not extremely bleak. It's not extremely good. It's not like everything is alright. It's not everything is fucked up. It's just somewhere in the middle, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was unexpected. And that's
definitely
always good.
Which is also the case with The Hunt, which makes it also such an amazing film.
I don't love the ending of The Hunt either.
Really?
I don't know.
Dude,
I don't.
Like
very last scene.
Amazing.
I don't think so. And I've read up on that whole scene, and there's like so many different interpretations of that last scene.
Of The Hunt?
Yep. There are. And the director doesn't want to answer it. As all these directors never want to answer any ambiguous ending. Of course, I understand why, but it's difficult. I love The Hunt, but just for whatever it always like there was always something about the very last scene that bothered me about The Hunt. Maybe it's supposed to bother me. I don't know. But I love the song at the end because I used that too for the segment I had, and I think it was written for the film. That might be wrong, but I like that a lot.
Song, right?
It is, yeah, it is. And that whole like anything, like I was so surprised as to what Mads Mikkelsen was able to do. That looked like it was him the whole time.
Yeah, dude. I mean, maybe he took a lot of training. I mean, he seems to be quite talented.
Yeah.
Good for
I
him.
just really absolutely love the guy. I really do. And I think he seems like such a great guy too.
Yeah.
Just from interviews or whatever I've seen from him. But
he seems pretty down to earth.
Check this movie out if you get the chance. I hope.
Dude, yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be. Do you reckon this is going to be dubbed and like in regular theaters? Maybe.
In most theaters, probably, but like with the film casino or something like that,
sure,
they're probably gonna show it in the original version. But maybe, who knows if it's even gonna come out to cinemas if things change. Maybe it's gonna go straight to VOD.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely worth seeking out. It's called Druk. Another round. Yeah, that's the best thing I've seen. And I guess from regular things that you can, and also that I forgot to mention that Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always is in regular theaters now. Literally now, you can go see that. I can't say that for any of the other films.
When did it come out? Because I tried looking
today
up all the release dates. All right, because when I looked it up, I just found the German release date, which was at the beginning of October, which was weird.
Yeah, no, it's it came out like today. We're recording this on the 29th, and that's when it's released.
All right.
And obviously, if we can't pick a film that's not out yet, the best thing I've seen is Borat 2, because that's the only thing I've seen. And
same.
But we're going to be like rebels or whatever and pick some of the film festival films that we saw. And but I mean, they were good. And we have some exciting movies coming up, hopefully. There's like, we're going to watch one tonight and then Nomadland on the weekend. I'm hoping it's going to be able to take place.
Yeah, but I have to say, dude, those are 4 pretty good films. I mean, with you, 5.
Yeah.
And it's been a pretty good week.
Yeah, it has. No, I agree. I always love love this week. It's always like my favorite movie going time of the year, even though it's like a bit different this year, obviously. But as you said, I think they handled it quite well, or they've been handling it quite well.
Yeah.
Right,
dude.
That's it.
Been a nice episode.
Yep. Stacked.
Yeah,
stacked
dude.
episode.
I'm interested in how next week's episode is going to go with, because then the Viennale is going to be over.
Right. But as I said, we're just going to watch like 2 or 3 more movies, and maybe we'll figure out something else to watch, like for the people that don't want us to just talk about movies that aren't out yet.
There's one thing that I've started watching, and I think I'm going to finish by next week.
Is it The Queen's Gambit?
Fuck you.
So obvious, dude. It's supposed to be so good.
I know, that's why I started it.
Is it good?
So far, it's pretty good. I started today because at work yesterday, a colleague of mine said it was so amazing that she finished it, I think, in one sitting or something like that.
Yeah, I'm so surprised as to how good this is supposed to be.
What I like so far is that it's in chronological order, because with a lot of those shows or something like that, it starts with something and just goes back and forth with flashbacks, but it starts in the present, and then it kind of starts telling the story in the right order without just going back and forth with flashbacks, which I appreciate so far.
Right.
And I like the leading actress.
Sorry, I'm just confused. I'm looking up all the things that we talked about, and for whatever reason, it bothers me that we mentioned every director except the one from Never Really, Sometimes, Always.
Eliza
Hittman. And Borat 2.
I forgot his name. He's very unknown.
Is he?
Yeah, nothing that I've seen.
Is it not the same guy who did the first one?
I don't think so.
Jason Wolnier.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the first one was Larry Charles.
Of course. I actually do know him. Okay. But I'm sorry. I was just, it just bothered me. I'm glad we mentioned it now. Because the whole, like, I realized that yesterday, like, almost every movie that I saw at the Viennale was directed by a woman.
I noticed that as well. And I think
didn't realize
the
that,
next 2 or 3 films that I am going to watch also directed by women.
Exactly, yeah. The woman who is in charge of the film festival is always like keen on featuring movies directed by women, and rightfully so.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Right. So sorry, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. So I'll let you sign off.
Yeah, dude. Thank you all so much for listening. As always, you can find us on any podcast platform, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, under the Best Thing We've Seen podcast. You can also find us on Twitter or Instagram under @BestThingRadio. And you can also find us on YouTube, where you can see our cover art, which you can also see on Instagram and Twitter that Flo designs every week. And yeah, give us a like, give us a subscribe, write us a review. Anything helps.
Right.
And spread the word, I guess.
Yes. Tell someone about it. Tell someone about us, please.
Yeah, please.
It's so desperate. No.
Send out a tweet, whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. If you've made it this far into the episodes, you're great. We love you.
We love you. Thank you. And good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.